hour. Arizona's a shootout team. They're a shootout team. They're the definition of a shootout team. If they could add a defense behind that, look, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are a shootout team. If you get a defense behind a shootout team, there's nothing stopping them. So good signing right there by the Cardinals. So speaking on the defensive side of the ball, let's go to the Bills signing Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White I told you last year, he's one of the most underrated corners in the league. I think he needed this deal. The deal hasn't completely, as far as like money and years go, that hasn't been released quite yet. But the deal is locked up. The Tre'Davious White's locked up with the Bills, so the deal's done. They just haven't been released yet. I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this because Darius Slay is currently the highest paid corner in the league, 16.7 mil. I think the Bills are going to give him more than that because Eagles and Darius Slay. Yes, Darius Slay was much needed for the Eagles. Yes, and they needed to go get big money to go get him. But I think Tre'Davious White's better than Darius Slay. I think he's younger. So I feel like giving him 17 would be okay. I'd be okay with that. Because, look, as far as big contracts go on the Bills right now, you really don't have that many. Yes, you're probably going to have to sign Singletary a little bit bigger. Stephon Diggs, a little bit bigger. Micah Hyde, that's a good contract right there. So they don't have any of those massive deals. So give it to the dude that's going to lock somebody down every single game. I would definitely do that. So I think giving Tre'Davious White 17 mil, I'd be okay with that. I would. I'd be okay with that. Chargers and Keenan Allen was also a big signing. He's getting 80 mil in his extension. He's the second most paid wideout in the league. Look, here's the deal. They needed that because here's the deal. San Diego, you can feel it. They've been on the decline a little bit, but they're slowly going down now. You've got a lot of faith in Justin Herbert that I frankly don't have. You've got Austin Eckler, great young talent. Mike Williams, another great young talent. You needed somebody who's going to come in and take ownership of that offense since Phillip Rivers is gone. And I think Keenan Allen, you needed to make that signing so that he can have that ownership. So I really liked this signing. It was kind of forced because they really needed to have that. So I just feel like they really didn't have a choice there because letting Keenan Allen walk would mean you're going in a rebuild mode. And I don't think San Diego's quite ready to get in a rebuild mode quite yet. I think they wanted to see if they can trust Justin Herbert first. So I really did like this signing. Now, here's one that I didn't like. Frankly, I think this is the only extension I didn't like. And that's the Bengals signing Joe Mixon to the deal that they gave him. 4 years, $48 million. He hasn't been that good to me. I've never been sold on Joe Mixon. Never. I've never been sold on that man. Now that you've got Joe Burrow out there, you've got an elite wide receiving core. I just don't see what the hype is with this dude. Yes, it's not an absolutely massive deal. The dude's getting $12 million a year. But still, I just don't see how Joe Mixon is that much money, worth that much money. Look, I feel like the Bengals, if they really wanted to get a good feature back, they should have traded for Matt Breida like the Dolphins did. I think Matt Breida is a young, speedy running back, and I think he's going to be really good in Miami. Absolute steal for what we traded for him. But I just feel like the Bengals signing Joe Mixon. Look, you just got Joe Burrow. Locking down Joe Mixon, I just don't feel like that is that good of a signing, especially with all the running backs that you could have acquired, much less what you could have used that much money for, So I didn't like that signing that much. I just feel like the $48 million was a little much. If you're going to make an extension with him, I just don't think he's that much of an elite talent. I mean, credit to him for locking up that money. I mean, you don't see me making $48 million a year, but still. That being said, we have talked about the NFL, but there are still 2 other seasons going on right now. It's a unique time we're in. It's not very often we have basketball, baseball, and football all going on at the very same time. It's a very unique experience. Makes my job a little bit more fun. But here's the deal. Y'all know I can talk about NBA all day, every day. The Bucks got eliminated by the Heat. I called it. I mean, of course, not on air because we weren't. This is the first episode, but ask anybody. Called it. I didn't like the Bucks. I thought they didn't have enough shooters to be able to contend and wing defenders to be able to contend with the Miami Heat. I think a lot of people are saying it's Jimmy Butler's team. Look, I think the Miami Heat. This is a whole other rant for another day. But there's no one person on that Miami team. That is a legit team. They remind me of the San Antonio Spurs, the prime San Antonio Spurs. Not by players, but like how they play. You know, there are many different pieces that go together, and those pieces they mold. So they're able to beat teams that are singular, like the Bucks. The Bucks are a very singular team. Giannis, that's how they score, is Giannis. He'll set up for people or he'll just take it himself. Teams that are together and they mold are able to beat teams like that. So that's why I feel like they were able to take this series, and why I think they're actually going to go to the AFC East. I think they're going to win. I mean, not AFC East. Jeez, look at me go. I think they're going to take the East. You know, because the Eastern Conference, you've got on the other side, you've got Toronto, and who's holding on dear life to the freaking Celtics. And, you know, I think the Heat are going to take out the Celtics because right now I don't trust the Celtics either. You know, they're becoming very, very one-dimensional as well. They're becoming. I don't see anybody being able to beat the Heat right now because they're not only are they burning hot, but they are playing so well together. Like, they're reminding me of those Spurs. And you remember how hard it was to beat those Spurs. I mean, LeBron had to go ham on them to beat them. So I just really don't see anybody being able to beat this Heat team right now coming out of the East. That being said, I do think the Celtics will get rid of Toronto right now. Right now, Jason Tatum is being able to tear apart that defense, and Kemba Walker is being able to have his will against them. I just don't see how Kyle Lowry is going to be able to pull this off. But I don't like to count the Raptors out because I mean they're way beyond expectations of where I thought they would be at the beginning of the season. But I think the Raptors are out. I don't like to count them out though. I really, really like Siakam. I like Gasol. I like Kyle Lowry. I don't want to count them out yet. That being said, I do think the Celtics are going to take them out just because Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker being able to have their way with this defense. Now let's switch over to the West. Now, Clippers and Nuggets. I've heard a lot of different takes on this. I'm going to save the Lakers and Rockets for last. I'm going to talk on that forever, but Clippers and Nuggets, you know, the series is a lot more entertaining to watch than I thought it would be. Jamal Murray, in case you didn't know, is an absolute stud, and he is a future star in this league. If not a star right now, here's the deal. I think last game, when the Clippers and Nuggets played, Jamal Murray shot 5 from 17 from the field. And Jeremy Grant, acquired from OKC, who's proven to be a really good role player for them, shot 5 for 14 from the field. So here's the deal. That won't happen again. I got Denver to take Game 4 to tie the series 2-2. I think, first off, the Jokic-Zubac matchup has been all Jokic. He has absolutely abused Zubac. And, you know, what's crazy is I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, the Clippers are the deepest team in the league." Well, who is backing up Zubac? You gonna put JaMychal Green on Jokic? Heck no. JaMychal Green's undersized. Undrafted out of Alabama, undersized. So don't put JaMychal Green on Jokic. Jokic will abuse him. Oh, there's no one on that Clippers roster that can guard Jokic, and that's why I feel like between him and Jamal Murray, I just feel like the Nuggets will take Game 4 because Zubac's found out in Game 3, and then once that happened, Jokic was able to just make all these easy little shots over JaMychal Green. So yeah, I'm really liking Denver going into Game 4. If Jamal Murray shoots a little bit better in 5-14, I have them in Game 3. I'm not convinced that the Clippers are all that good. I'm not really convinced in the Lakers either, but I'm really not convinced in the Clippers. With the talent they have, they should be playing a lot better, but they're not. Kawhi Leonard, he's mentally checking out of games, which you can't do. Paul George isn't playing as well as he should be to be checking out of games, and then you're not big inside. So I don't really think the Clippers can be having to answer for the Nuggets. Now in a 7-game series, I'll take the Clippers because at the end of the day, I trust Paul George and Kawhi more than I trust Jokic and Jamal Murray. But as far as Game 4 is concerned, yeah, I'll take Denver all day. I like how they're playing right now. But it's one of those things, it's kind of like the Raptors. I don't want to take Denver out because the Denver and Utah Jazz series, if you didn't watch that, you should go back and watch that, all 7 games. They all were. Actually, there was one blowout game in there, but especially the last 3 games, 5, 6, and 7, go back and watch those. Those are some phenomenal basketball games to go watch. Credits to Donovan Mitchell for absolutely balling, especially in Game 7. But Jamal Murray, man. Jamal Murray. Look, Jamal Murray hasn't really come out of nowhere for me. When Denver grabbed Jamal Murray and then they signed him to an extension, at first I thought it was a little overpaid, but just a little overpaid. But Jamal Murray's something special, man. He really is. He is one of those guys that is just a grinder. Have you watched his post-game interviews? It's not like he's sitting there, "Oh, dude, just had a 50-point game. Heck yeah, man. Let's go on to Game 4." No, he's like, "Yeah, let's get the job done." It's just all business for him, and that's one of those. It's maturity, and he's showing that maturity right now. That I didn't think he'd be able to possess, but he's showing that maturity, and he's realizing that he's becoming a star. And I think Jamal Murray and Trae Young are. Trae Young unfortunately wasn't able to get to the bubble. The Hawks weren't invited, but if Trae Young can show Jamal Murray's maturity, both of them are already special players, but Jamal Murray has become an absolute superstar, and he's being. Him and Jokic are a duo for a long time. If Denver plays this right and keeps building pieces, the Jeremy Grant signing was a great piece. They can keep building pieces. This Denver team's going to be good for a long, long, long time. Look at them right now. They're in the semifinals against who a lot of people think are the winning team, the NBA championship team. And they're in a 2-1 series, and it's quite even. Quite even. I don't know if you can sit there and ask anybody besides Clippers fans or Denver fans, ask anybody neutral, and I bet it's roughly down the middle. Like, not 50-50, maybe like 40-60, but I think it's right there. I don't think they're that far away from beating this Clippers team. And if they can sneak past this Clippers team, I don't care who they're playing next round. Anything can happen with Jamal Murray. So, look, all I'm saying is this Denver team is special, man. I just really like what they're doing over there. I really, really, really like what they're doing over there. I like Jokic. I like Jamal Murray. Keep building those pieces. Will Barton, Gary Harris. Keep building those pieces. And Michael Porter. Oh, I forgot about Michael Porter Jr. is also somebody that's going to be special down the road. Look, I saw an article about 2 weeks ago saying the next big 3, ? Jamal Murray, Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr. Here's the deal. I'm telling you,